So,
That the birthday show,
Yeah.
So when we get we passes for the birthday.
Thank you.
Just asking.
Thank you.
What kind of pass is talking about?
Eh?
You could pass by and you could actually pass.
No,
you
we
could
want,
pass.
we want to pass security.
Oh, you could pass. Yeah, that's the pass.
Well, when we get me complimentary.
Access. Oh, compliment to this season to you as
No,
well.
no
That's the best
compliment.
complimentary. Listen, that's the only complimentary that's given. Compliment to this season.
Good. Yeah, only this man had like
Which
one-
season?
Well, it's my birthday season, so it's or Easter season is a matter of fact.
When that is?
The 10th of April. Right there in Cafe Blue Rice, you know, there's nothing to worry about.
You want how we name?
You doing a big gig?
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, now.
I did promise.
Uncle Carl?
Yeah, I did promise. William,
Yeah.
every week I go reveal a new person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean on the cast?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you tell me. You want to know who on the
Sound
cast?
like a plan.
Yeah.
Sound like
But
a
before
plan.
I reveal that,
Yeah.
you go talk to the DJ, let him hook up the anthem.
Let me load.
Let him hook up the anthem
Volume.
and put we in again.
You want DJ?
Let me load.
No, you know.
I mean, no.
You know, he asked you if I want
I'm
DJ.
charging you, you know, how do you feel?
I have no problem with you not
I'm
charging,
charging,
not charging,
I'm
you know.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, right? I think it's a love, it's a vibe, it's a love, it's a understanding. When you hire gig on them,
Yeah.
you have to tell them you have an MC, but you want an MC and DJ your own
No, but
function.
we had this discussion already.
Exactly.
And I told you once it is
Conducive.
warranted,
Right.
and we could afford, because we have to be
You must
able to
afford, where's money? Where's money? It's about creating the memory. I'm here to create the memory, to help with the
No,
memory.
we will create the memory, but we are creating
I like you just talk.
No, not
I like
necessarily.
you just talk.
No, money is secondary.
I have a memory of having car insurance to pay sometime next.
All right. No, wait. No, get it flow. Money is secondary.
Oh, it's secondary.
It is not
Secondary.
out of the discussion. It's
I
secondary.
get caught there.
Yeah.
You talk there, I say, well.
No, the first thing you have to make sure you put
Yeah.
inside there, people having fun, they liking the vibes, they enjoying the segment, they enjoy. That's my thing. When I
Yeah.
come to MC or entertain, my mission is to make your event memorable.
Alright, as I say that, we don't think because you have people out there watching me.
What they want to, what do we mean? What do we mean here? They come on their hand, or listen.
No, but
They bring things for the top.
Nah, don't worry about that.
Well,
No, I mean,
allow people to come inside
no,
here.
talk about them up there, the neighbors and them now, like, you know,
Right, how does the people come in
in
here? Don't-
Barbados and Antigua and
So, like talk to the DJ. That's
Tortola. Hey, Tortola, what's happening? Hey,
what going on?
We have,
Boom.
it's our,
Queens.
We have people
Boom.
inside. We have people.
North
Yeah, we have people
Carolina,
inside.
actually.
Yeah.
When I say here,
Inside.
No, but I had to digress quick now because you know we had tonight is a little special night.
yeah, we
Yeah,
got
but
deal with that.
to
That's
talk
stuff.
about
But I'll
the
make
thing
sure that
thing.
when I tell them when I bring people here,
Yeah.
they gotta put
Tell them
something
they bring
inside.
something for the
They gotta
top.
Put something for the top. This-
Well, we have a little time now, so
we just disregard this. You
no,
see
what
this
we
fella here?
could do, no, what we could do, we have a few minutes. So while we're going for the anthem,
Yeah, we got
Right,
take
we
the
got-
we could organize and
Like
and I
that,
will rush them
see
and
what
say, have a pal on the road, or they
Run
could go
fast.
and buy 2 things and come.
How long is the anthem? About what, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
6?
No, not so much. It's about 4 minutes or something like
So
that.
short it is?
It's not the last. It's not the.
I know
might
it's a
change.
new one. I know.
Yeah, no, the new one plenty shorter. So, Ariel,
DJ,
run the
Let me
anthem.
the
and
anthem
then
there.
tell
Let me
me.
go on.
Hey guys, so this is the actual recording. Culture Don't Close and Culture Don't Fall Out. Written by Mr. Ronald Ford and sang by yours truly. Dang da dang da day. Dang dang da da dang day. You never know when a comedian serious or joking. The country was shocked to see Harold Beerback crying. People thought he was filming a new TV episode. We cultural archives was heading in a dark hole. How we value the works of those who contribute. For my cultural expression, money can't substitute. The images will remain embedded on my mind. And for my culture, I'm reflecting all the time. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. It's a continuum between generations. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. That is how we just pass on tradition. To protect the archives of my people's expression. To save the soul of this great nation. Our people have the bailiff on their toes running. Just a woulda hit them licks in one of the episodes. Gonna send Rose woulda ring she better get them blows. Thanks to the generosity of the people of TNT, they say the cultural works of my country. Bassy Henville must be feeling so proud of we for protecting and saving Gael TV. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. For a few dollars you can't tell culture close up shop. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. It's Western TV, you want me cheer on to watch. What's wrong with seeing people on TV looking like me? You culturize my children with birth and earning. A people's culture can only be about money. Seeing yourself on TV brings a different energy. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Philomena would have beat them with cheap bucket and mop. Lang, lang, la, la, lang, day. If Mr. Roscoe was in the mansion that fateful morning, that is where the archive would be storing. Eyelash lady would have come for she things in the kitchen. Sprang along would have give them a good tongue lashing. It's a serious lesson that the country learned. Your cultural archives must have a permanent home. By the evening they had to leave Gael TV alone. The power of the people paid off the loan. Tell them culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Monetizing cultural assets could be rough. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Tell them financiers never all we bluff. It's not easy to foreclose on a people's legacy, to trade their heritage for some small money. Cultural contributors must be turning in their grave as they tried to block the path that they paved. Tell them culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Monetizing cultural assets could be tough. Dang da dang da day, dang dang da da dang day. Gael was the stomping ground of the great sprang along. Tony Hall, Christopher Led, and Wendell Etienne. So much room and stars has a platform to perform. How we cultural legacy would have carry on. We thank Errol Fabian for standing strong and reaching out in the time of need and desperation. Thanks to the people for their contribution. Today Gael TV on its way building back strong. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Gael TV on its way back to the top. Tell them culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Culture could only stumble, but it will never flop. From the Ganges and the Niles emerged chutney. Calypso evolved from the brutality of slavery. The Spanish influence parang for all and we, and the English Privy Council is still with we. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Displacing the archives is a recipe for this unity. Culture don't close down, culture don't fall out. Dang dang da da dang day. Hey hey, where you going with that? Culture don't fall out. You hey, I pay the money. We pay with money.
So yeah, boys.
Ooh.
Yeah, boys. So tonight. Hey, good night, world. Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, Caribbean. Good night, Gael people. Yeah?
Blessings.
Yeah, we come back already. Let me just
Yeah,
rest
we
on
come
the
back,
ground
we
here.
come
So,
We didn't
tonight.
go nowhere, but we come back.
Okay, so following just like last week, tonight is one of those more somber, more sober nights You know how we just do it here on Rubber Dub Dub, right? It's just, man that be all on the ground and all kind of thing. But tonight we want to take it a little serious because we have a scenario that I knew about it, as I knew about this before. A friend of mine has a daughter who actually suffers with this, what we're going to talk about tonight, cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. So I had some idea of what it is about, you know, kind of stuff. But then this particular organization, they're having an event coming up. And our boy Ashton, they pull him in to do some AV stuff and he pulled me in and ting. And then so I had a little sit down with them and boy, they started to share some stuff with me. I ain't lying. The tears reach right there, partners.
But that's man.
Yeah, that's kind of
But that's man.
tight up and closing the valve there and just pulling it. No, serious, no, but it's serious. It's serious.
Fast.
It's serious, boy.
I do have to put that.
Yeah, no,
I did
it's
fast.
serious. So some real deep information.
Nice. But a lot
And,
of things happen outside there,
Yeah.
you know, that we're not aware. Because again, until it comes close to home,
Yeah.
then it becomes an issue. Or it doesn't become an issue until we actually have to face it close to home and by a neighbor or by a loved one. So sometimes in a space like this, it's good to actually bring these things in the front.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
To get a little closer.
Let me make sure Richard, you'll organize the mics. You have two mics ready. We have, check and make sure.
Alan Pony might now, so long as you don't need.
Alan again.
Alan again, you sit down there.
Take it.
If you touch it,
It's
not
on?
business.
And then make sure it's sync, you know. You know, you're on the unsync.
It's on.
You're on the unsync.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's how it is. I'm watching the levels over
I
there.
know.
I only seen 2 beaten. No?
Check. Well, I seen
Yeah,
me.
I've seen 2 beaten.
Alright, let's say
Yeah.
You sure it's Alan and not me, boy?
Let's stay quiet now. It's me?
Yeah, it's
I
Alan.
know. I seen Alan.
Yeah, but I seen Alan
I
there.
seen one beat.
I not seen me.
Two.
All your-
Testing.
Come now, man. I want to cut up all your pain inside
I
there.
not.
So what's supposed to happen here now?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead. I still see him low. Because when American them talk, you're going all the way to the roof.
No, but
Yeah,
I
when I
not
see
seen
what
me.
you understand?
Going
I
up
don't know
quite
if
up in the sky.
there's something blocking mine or the antenna blocking it.
So which one is mine?
You're on underneath that
Use
field.
number 7.
Yeah,
I think use number 7. So that you don't.
That's what? 1, 2.
Yeah, number
No, it can't be 1, 2.
Two.
It'll be 7.
Anyhow,
2.
this song man go fix that.
Well, I want to make
Right,
sure.
so-
See, friends, that's what
Right, he said fix it. See what I'm
Right,
saying?
so friends, should I start with what I was saying before?
Yes, go ahead.
Alright, so I was saying before, sometimes these things that affect others may not necessarily affect us until they get close to home.
Correct, is
So
right.
yeah, some people hear about these things and they just pass it like it's nothing. It come like passing that homeless guy on the side of the street.
Yeah.
He not affected me until he gets in front of me. He's an issue. Or until it land home where I know somebody from my family homeless.
Yeah.
Then it becomes an issue. And that means a crazy
But you know what's sad?
analogy.
What's sad about it? Is that term we just always use, it takes a village to raise a child and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Long ago, that was not an issue. Because literally, your neighbor child was like yours.
Right, so it doesn't affect your child.
So if you know, for example, you know your neighbor child, the Down syndrome or whatever, you treat that as if it's your personal child.
Yeah.
That's how we used to live.
Yeah.
Now what you're saying is the reality is that that's your business.
Yeah, that
Until
is not-
it come around.
It's not my problem.
And that's so sad, but
not my
how
problem.
far we just...
So that's why this place like this, we should, again, it's good to bring
the
this
knowledge.
type of
Bring the
information
knowledge.
to
Yeah.
the front. Because I
Yeah.
hear, I know a lot of them, but we're going out towards the real pause. And I'm like, what's that again, mate?
I talked to Google yesterday.
Yeah, after God is
You know, so I spoke to Google. But I know about it. But to get more in depth into what it actually is and the causes and that kind of thing. No.
But I don't want you to tell it.
No. We have
No, we have some guests in the house.
we have
Who will deal with
they
it.
go.
Yeah.
So let me invite you to shift your...
Oh, you want me to move?
Yeah.
Yeah, you move.
You're supposed to get your high thing and go in
You
the
go in
backyard.
the
Friday.
What's
One
your
time.
mind?
Don't worry, I have it.
Yeah.
Run as usual.
Hey, you managing the phone? You managing the phone there?
Boom, bang, bang.
Boom, bang.
Where's all of this drama?
Leave my thing there, man. My phone update
I
us.
see people go and type themselves and chip thing on the foot and all kind of... show that.
We have public, we have
Very good.
public liability workmen come.
So I want to invite now. I'm gonna call some folks and they'll walk on. Don't frighten you. Just walk on the set. That's what we do. We live like that.
Yeah. We like
So
Let me get the mic for them first.
Yeah,
Sure,
get the mic. There we go.
Well, let's just
So we have two
all
lovely
kind
ladies
of-
come in and join us on set. This is the president and founder of the Care Helpers Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. I hit it.
What's the name of it?
That's what
Say
we
that
talk
again.
about. The Care Helpers Organization of
Santi
Trinidad
Nice
and Tobago. Yeah,
So-
but good, yeah.
I hope this president proactive. We have a president.
Boom. Santi nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Santi nice. Very nice.
Sure if she around.
Santi money.
No, they're doing things.
We have a president now, but you know we really they say.
Oh, well, president.
I just say.
Nice.
No, this is a different president. This
No.
one real active.
Yeah.
Now, forgive us, ladies.
Yeah.
Before you give your names and whatever the case, you must forgive these guys who invited you here. The rule of thumb when you're coming inside here is you must acknowledge the tub. So you had to bring things somewhere.
Yeah, because there's
put
three
it
men
in
and a tub.
And a tub.
The tub is very
So
important.
homage must be paid to the tub on a weekly
understand?
basis. The
Even if we
visitors
invite the prime minister here,
Yeah.
put
that tub
something
will
in
be
the
there.
tub. The tub is important. But these
But
guys
my bad. I go take.
didn't give us the rules.
So I will put something on
that-
the behalf,
that-
right?
But
that-
you know, all let's forgive one. All let's forgive one. If you want to leave,
All right, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
we're not
You
refusing.
want to bring the tub closer? Bring up the tub.
So ladies, tell us about yourselves. Who's on the set here? Who representing what and who?
Good night. My name is Michelle Ashley Bisram, and I'm the president of Care Helpers Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, which was formed in 27th of December in 2017. Right?
2017, so that makes
Care Helpers.
4 years old.
Yes,
basically.
4 years old.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
and,
no, go ahead.
all right.
Yeah.
This was birthed because, as the gentleman said rightly, not until it hit home, then you know what it feels like. Because I also had a daughter, and I say had because she recently died in January
Wow.
26th of this year.
Wow.
Right? So it was an experience of a lifetime.
Of the same.
Yes,
the
of
same
cerebral palsy.
Wow, wow, wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Condolences to you and the family.
Thank
Belated.
you. Thank you. Yes.
So let's bring the other lady in the audience side one time.
Yeah, but I'm already.
Yeah, I still want to hear the story. You still need to hear the story, yeah?
Yeah,
But
we get
let's hear who's.
Yes. Okay, so hello everyone. I am Alicia Pacheco. So I am on the executive of Care Helpers Organization, but I'm also a client of Care Helpers Organization.
Okay.
I'm also a parent of a child
Okay.
with cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a son with cerebral palsy who is 13 years old at this time.
13?
13.
15.
Right.
Very
Wow.
nice. All right. So I think before we get into anything, we need to get a clear understanding what cerebral
yes,
palsy is.
yeah.
Well, I know for this is cerebral, brain.
It's up there,
cerebellum,
upstairs.
you know. But what exactly is that cerebral palsy?
Okay, so cerebral palsy is a group of neurological disorders. Yes, cerebral means brain. So it is a really disorders that affect the brain, that affect other parts of the body and other functions within the body. So mostly movement.
Okay.
So any sort of muscle or anything that deals with movement. The most visible people with cerebral palsy we would see are people in wheelchairs.
Right.
There are 4 different types of cerebral palsy. The most common one is spastic cerebral palsy. So we see persons with cerebral palsy,
What
they
call
may be spastic.
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 So it means, yes, spastic. They have
Spastic,
very
okay.
stiff muscle tone. So you see persons with cerebral palsy who are affected by cerebral palsy, you see their arms are curled in, their muscles tend to be
Right,
tense all the time, and they have muscle tone. Or we have ataxic, where they tend to be floppy. So the vast majority are spastic. And we
Okay.
have a small amount of persons who are affected who have ataxic, so they'll have loose muscle tone or really floppy. So the 2 most technical terms we use is hypertonia or hypothermia.
Hyper and hypo.
Yes, so hypo are the ones who are very floppy and they
Right.
have loose muscle tone, and hypo are the ones who tend to be have the stiff muscle tone and they tend to be stiff. So
Yeah.
it's a range. It can range from mild, very
Yeah.
mild, and be very unnoticeable until you're much older, or it can be very severe. And so those who may be severe, they are also affected by other medical conditions. They are affected by seizure disorder. They may have other medical conditions with their lungs, with their other organs like heart conditions. They have most common things. They have problems with feeding, swallowing, balance, muscle tone, and on the mild part of the spectrum, they may just be the child that looks clumsy, always falling down, can't keep their balance. The child who has difficulty with writing because they have fine motor difficulty. The child who always choking because they have problems with swallowing and with drinking and so forth. Or the child whose speech is affected. But what we want people to know also, persons with cerebral palsy, because it's a range, it doesn't always affect intellectual ability. So
that is one thing, yes. We were talking about my friend, and that's one thing we found out. The girl bright like that.
Yes. So it may affect their balance and their muscle tone and so, but it may not affect intellectual ability. So you have a very, very, very smart, intelligent persons who are affected by cerebral palsy, and they may be in a wheelchair, but they are very, very smart.
There's a guy, sorry to cut this, I don't know if you all ever saw him. I think his name is Stephen something. Little white guy.
Yeah. Who doesn't have limbs. His limbs.
You know, when you have a wheelchair, but when he does motivational speech.
He climbed the mountain as well. Yes. He goes skiing. He has a family. Right. So our organization is trying to bring awareness to the fact that, first of all, cerebral palsy is a range, and we have to not only look for it looking one particular way. So it's a range. Secondly, is that persons with cerebral palsy deserve equal access to everything we have because they are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and they are citizens of the world. So they deserve equal access to all of the services we have: medical attention, education, access to jobs and opportunities, just like everybody, just like everybody else. And also, our organization is called Care Helpers, because in the background, the persons taking care of the persons with cerebral palsy. So most time it's the parent, the sibling, the mother in most cases, and especially in the range of severity. So my son, he's moderate to mild, and he's mostly affected with ataxia. So he was a floppy child, and so forth. But especially when it comes to them having very severe and being affected very severely, where they also have other medical conditions, sometimes a parent has to give up a job to stay at home, to take care of this person. Many of them may be bedridden because their mobility is affected. And sometimes they don't have access because they don't have access to basic things like wheelchairs. It's very expensive for a family to get a wheelchair. So we just have to be specialized based on the type of cerebral palsy the person has and the type of mobility issues that person has. And some of the things they need, and even sometimes they need to be specialized based on the environment they're in. If you're living in a very small house, for instance, and you don't have big hallways, or if you have stairs, so sometimes we have to get them specialized, and of course they're not manufactured in Trinidad. So even getting a wheelchair into the country and paying for a wheelchair for one person is very expensive, paying for walkers and so forth.
What's the average cost of average for a wheelchair?
25,000.
Jesus Christ.
For one that doesn't have all of the individual, that's not customized.
Customized meaning to suit the disability.
To suit that particular, that specific person. So the average family will have difficulty even getting that. And if they don't have that, that also prevents access. Basic things like just trying to carry your child to the doctor that you have to do regularly. Basic transport issues. Families often incur a lot of expense because you have to pay a driver or pay somebody to come and pick them up to take the child to the hospital. And so there's a lot of additional expense. So our organization, we are supporting the helpers and the carers of the persons with cerebral palsy. So that person is being supported by us, by their caregivers also being supported.
And that includes financial support, I guess, to some degree?
Yes, to some degree, yes.
Yeah, but because them kind of...
So do you all actually interface with like social development ministry as well to access grants and stuff for family, or is there grants afforded to families with This disability.
Okay, so I'll answer part and Michelle will answer part. So in terms of what we have nationally for families, so there is through Ministry of Social Development, there are 2 grants. So there is the special child grant that a parent could apply for if their child is from birth to 18 years old. And they just need a medical doctor to do their screening and to sign their documents to say that this person has cerebral palsy and they're able to qualify for that. It's easier to access it now. Before, the parent had to go through a means test, and if your income was above a certain amount, you couldn't get it. But now it's based on the child's severity. So that helps our parents who have children who are moderate and severe. Your child doesn't qualify if your child is mild. Any disability, they don't qualify if the disability is very mild. But even with a mild disability, for instance, like my son who may be considered mild for cerebral palsy, he can't write with a pen or pencil. So he still needs specialized equipment even to learn to write. So even though it might be mild, but it might affect a part of that child's functioning that is truly necessary and important for daily living. For daily living. So that's one of the issues we have, and one of the stumbling blocks some of our parents are going to meet, especially the ones whose children are attending school, who are able, because of their mobile, whether they are using a walker, a cane, or even a wheelchair, they are mobile enough to access physical school. So that still puts them at a disability of not being able to access it. And we do have the disability grant. So that is also for persons who are 18 years and older, who have a disability. Families can accept it. But we must understand a grant is a very small amount of money. It's not enough.
And it's a one-time thing. You don't get granted.
You get it every month, but it's not enough. It's not enough for the range of services.
I got you.
So the average child with cerebral palsy needs physiotherapy because of muscle tone issues. They need occupational therapy to teach them how to be able to manage day-to-day occupational tasks. And an occupational task for a young child is walking. But an occupational task for an older child might be learning to write. An occupational task may actually be toileting, learning to use the toilet. So they need occupational therapy at least once for the week. They need physical therapy at least once for the week. They need speech therapy at least once for the week. Those who have issues with their throat and their mouth and are not able to swallow properly or whatever, they need a specialized diet. They may need to have pureed foods all the time. Some students, people need to be tube fed.
Tube feeding too.
They need tube feeding. So then that's another set of things, because we also have to make sure even though you're tube feeding them or they're getting pureed, they are getting all the nutrients that they need. So, which is also some of the things that you need to use for that are also very expensive. And we also have those that have medical conditions. So those who have seizures, seizure medication. If it's available in the hospital, you're able to get it, yes, but if it's not available, you have to buy it. You can't go a day without it. If they have breathing conditions and they need to use oxygen, or then they are asthmatic, or any of those other conditions. So any family with a child with cerebral palsy or any disability, the bills to be able to give your child the best,
mountainous,
because you want to give them the best chance at life and the best chance to develop and to grow and to get better. And for them to have that best chance to get better, they're not going to be perfect or and what we consider normal, but they can always be better every day. And because it's developmental, they continue to get better if they continue to get their range of services. But most of those services, if not all of them, apart from physiotherapy, are only available privately. And you have to pay for them by the hour.
If you don't mind me asking, because you said they are able to get better. I was wondering if, in terms of the chronic stages of cerebral palsy, can somebody actually come back to a space of 100% wholeness? Or no. Sadly. But is it something that they deteriorate into as well, in terms of a child can be born normal, and then
okay, so cerebral palsy occurs when the brain is depleted of oxygen during the birthing process or quickly after the birthing process, and it can happen in vitro as well. So that is called congenital cerebral palsy. But you can have acquired cerebral palsy if it happens. Some sort of infection caused you to happen, or you got an injury to the brain, and that is called acquired cerebral palsy, and it can happen after 24 days. So when we say getting better in our space, we don't mean fixing the problem, that you're not going to have cerebral palsy or you're not going to outgrow cerebral palsy. When we say getting better, we mean simple tasks as a child could not sit up or could not roll over.
Yeah.
And they're able to move and roll over.
Okay.
Or that they could not feed themselves and they're learning to feed themselves. Or they needed toilet help or toilet assistance, but they're able to go to the toilet on their own. So that's what we mean by getting better. Just meeting some of those milestones. They may not meet them perfectly, but they might be able to do it in their way, an adaptive way that works for them. So that is what we mean in our space as getting better. And that doesn't happen without therapy. Without consistent therapy over years. Over years.
So we have some interesting. So let's take a call and let's hear, get in the conversation. Robert Dub Dub.
Dub Dub.
Rubber dub, fellas.
Yes.
Oh gosh, man, are you taking the thing to the next level? I like that. Good.
Uncle Willie.
Yes, partner, me here. You hearing me?
Yeah.
We hear you.
Right, I have two questions for the panel. One, is this disease hereditary? And two, what are some of the symptoms that would cause somebody to get that? So those are my two questions. I will listen off here.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks, Willie.
Okay, so first we want to caller, thank you for your question. It's not a disease, it's a disorder or a condition. So it's not a disease, it's not contagious or anything like that, so it's a disorder or a condition. There is a genetic factor in some small cases of persons having cerebral palsy, but mostly it's caused during the birthing process or injury or trauma or infection that will cause the brain to not get oxygen.
So now you all hitting some nails on the head tonight, huh? Because today I was actually doing some more research on this disorder, and I was looking also, you're doing research and looking at the television, and looking at a TV show, and the episode was actually about cerebral palsy in the United States, right? And they have a lot of clinical trials going on where they have children who, once they meet the criteria, right, they are entered into these trials because there's no cure, as I learned today. There's no cure for it, but it can be managed.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
So, with that being said, how does that outlook for us here in Trinidad in real life? Do we have these systems in place? Do we have clinical trials? Do we have insurance? Because what you're saying is true. It's very expensive.
Yes.
Very expensive to take care, just taking care.
Yes.
So we even get into the stage where we have doctors and all these people involved. This is just the parents and you, the people who trying to provide this service of help. Because that's something you don't get these days, help. Right? That's just the reality, I think. So what you're all doing here, as my wife said in the comments here, superheroes.
Oh yeah.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
And
By
that's
the grace of God, yes.
that's the best way to put it.
Yes, that's the best way to put it because, as you said, we are very far away from it in Trinidad and Tobago. Trust me. Yeah, we are far away.
So we don't have medical clinical trials in Trinidad and Tobago, and we do know there is new research and new clinical trials going on with brainstem
Right.
Yeah.
trials, especially in places like China. But some it worked or it may not work, so it's trials. So we don't have that in Trinidad. What I can say as an organization, and I think with any parent who has a child with a disability, because my son has cerebral palsy as well as autism,
Wow.
Any parent who has a child with a disability, we all need all of these services. All the disabilities share the need for the same services. For the majority of the same services, speech therapy, occupational therapy, the main ones, and so forth. What I can say, what we do need more than anything else, is for the service to be available in the public health care. We have free public health care for almost anything in our hospitals. Surgeries or anything else like that. And the fact that cerebral palsy is mostly caused, 80-something% of cases of cerebral palsy was caused during the birthing process, which speaks to our medical institutions. It's higher in poorer countries because, of course, the birthing practices are not
But 80% is high.
Yes.
So when you say higher, I think 120% now because 80 is high.
And those statistics are, of course, American statistics, U.S. statistics. And so in other countries, when the condition occurs, because it occurs mostly, the cause of it was because of birthing issues. In other countries, they have systems in place for social care, specifically for persons with cerebral palsy for their lifespan.
Yeah, correct.
Right. We don't have that here in our system. We don't have that here.
And it's ironic because we can find billions of dollars to fund so many other things that really are, to me, unnecessary. But something like this, where this can actually help people. This to me is what helping is about.
Yes.
Right? Because we need to have a structure or some type of fund, something where the government can assist in this.
Other than the grant or the food card that parents can access, because that is a basic. What is going to change the life for the person with cerebral palsy? What is going to change their life? And what is going to give them a better quality life is for them to benefit from these services. So the best way for any government to serve the persons with disabilities is to make sure that the services that they require to improve their quality of life and for them to get what we call better. Or for them to have an improved life. And it's just about personal, individual, human dignity. Simple things like a person being able to go to the bathroom for themselves and not being able to always have somebody there, being able to feed yourself. Or even if you can't do those things, having somebody that the government provides to assist. Because remember, we have children, but her daughter was actually 19 at the time she passed.
Wow.
So many and a large percentage of our families are caring for adults with cerebral palsy because it's a lifespan disorder. And if you didn't get some of these services when you were a child and you're younger at the point of learning and getting better, of course you're going to become more and more disabled as you get older and you're going to constantly need care. Care.
Let's take this call.
Robert Dub Dub.
Hello.
Hi, good night.
I'm calling about, the program that's going on now.
On the phone.
You will have to lower the TV and talk to us on the phone.
Okay, I am on the phone.
Okay.
Concerning together with I can't pronounce that name.
Cerebral palsy,
Thing. That together with Down syndrome and other things, special needs or special children. The government is supposed to have this policy where you're supposed to get the grant and you're supposed to get the food card thing. But sometimes the people from social welfare that comes to interview you, they ask you some ridiculous questions, and then again they still fail you. You know, and if they were to take time and go around with people with special needs children and see what they have to go through and how expensive it is. If you don't have a vehicle, you have to go here or there, all over the place, you know. Then they would pay more attention. Well, the government of Trinidad and Tobago would pay more attention to those type of children, and their families, because it's not an easy road. And my heart always goes to all parents, or whenever they have topics like this. Sometimes people don't even, some programs, they don't even want to carry on topics like this, and it's a very hurtful thing. But anyway, that's what I'm going to say tonight, because I want to say so much that I'm confused, so that's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for your comment.
Right, I just would like to, I see like you're going to say something, but I want to ask you specifically, while the mic up in your hand, based on your experience from, it's 19 years this year,
Yes.
daughter lived with cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Tell us your experience from birth, if you can do it in a nutshell, from birth to death.
Okay, great. So I will try my best.
Nice.
Because it's really an emotional
Yeah.
thing to deal with, because at the beginning, I don't know if on TV I can say, but I was at the Mount Hope Women's Hospital, and there's where I delivered my daughter. From that moment on, it was a traumatic experience, and I must say it was due to prolonged labor that caused the damage to my deceased daughter, and the funny thing about it is, you go through the experience, and when the damage happened, no one comes after to counsel you and say, hey, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. I didn't know what was cerebral palsy then. So, when they told me, well, my daughter, she's bleeding in the brain, she has meningitis, and she's getting seizures, all those things were like new to me. And, the funny thing is, you leave there more confused than ever, because here you are with this child with all this problem, and you don't know what to do next. And I'm seeing it happening right now, with new parents who have children with cerebral palsy. And this was done due to negligence, And I remember as time go along, as she got older and so forth, when I didn't know much about this, I didn't know what to do, I remember doing researches, going and find out what is this cerebral palsy, because nothing was explained to me. They just send you home. Yes, your child have a disorder, that's it, but nothing was explained to you. So I went and do my research, and that is how I found out what is cerebral palsy, and I watched, the movement. And then they say after a period of time, if she doesn't meet certain milestone, then therapy, they introduced therapy when she probably was a year or so. And, the type of therapy we had then, it was something called range of motion. And to me, I'm just saying that it may have worked for some persons, but to me, it did not work. It just helped to keep the child, like, not being stiff and all that. But at the same time, it was something that it caused more problem, because she ended up with dislocation of hip, this, that, there was a lot of things and issues that, took place. So, over the years, as a mother, I didn't just sit there, and with my family, we had a challenging time, because that same year she was born, I also got fired from the job I was at while on maternity leave, funny enough. So,
Wow.
yes. So, it was challenging. So, no work, and my husband had to fight, and we struggled through. But God has been good to us in spite of. And even after that, when we try to get the grant, because then I got to find out that there is a grant for, to help and assist. I tried then and there, and it was like every time you go, they turn you down, or every time you go, they tell you they lost your file. And, these things become so discouraging that you didn't want to go back.
Imagine.
You know, it wasn't until what? She was almost 5 years. It took me almost 5 years before I could have gotten a grant. And the reason that I was able to get it is because of my determination. I chose, by then, within those time, I had another daughter, which she's not with cerebral palsy. She was I should put it as normal. You know, we will say normal, but we saw custom with CP and normal and so forth. Yeah, so I had another child. And also during that time, within the year of the child, my husband and all, he come and he end up with kidney problems. So, you know, our situation even get worse. So now the thing is, we were renting and then we were not able to pay our rent. It was like we had to rely on the mercies of others, you know, on our families, friends, or whoever could have helped us. And there I am going back and forth to the ministry to find out, you know. And every time I go, I have to carry back my stuff. And because they keep lost in the file. That's what they said, the file lost. And one day, you know, I saw this ad in the paper where they helping families in need. And I just get discouraged to go to the ministry, write a letter, go to the Ministry of Health, and I took that letter. I wasn't able to meet the minister, but I met his secretary. And from there, she took that letter. Whatever I wrote on it, she started making calls. And you know, there and then is when she told me, carry back everything to social welfare, and this time you will be able to get the grant. And so said, so done. I was able to get, my husband needed surgery. I needed surgery too, and, you know, for a hernia. And yes, and we were able, from then, that is when I started to become the go-getter, to go and get help, you know, for our family, because I was in a desperate situation. Yeah. So just imagine other families who end up like this. Some may lose their work. Some had to leave their jobs because I got another job and had to leave it too when my special needs daughter ended up at the hospital because she spent over 6 weeks or more. So they tell you to make a choice.
Wow.
You know, you had to make a choice. So
The job said you had to make a choice.
yes, I had to make a choice. Yeah, between and the job. So I made a choice. Even though it was difficult, I had to, you know, do what is necessary because she needed my care then and there. You know, so it has been a, how we would say, uphill, downhill battle. You know, it wasn't easy because it's really not easy for a person, a parent, I should say, having to deal with a child with cerebral palsy or any other disability. It's a tough fight. So this is where even those who work in, it's difficult for them as well financially. You know, so this is where the ministry come in, where we need more assistance in these areas. And, you know, as with our organization, what we do too, we look for help even from the private sector to assist.
Corporate. And I was not going to ask
corporate,
about that as well.
Yes. So it has been a challenge. As I say, it's a touchy or a touching subject, dealing with experience like this. But the thing is, you know, many people out there have to know what is taking place with persons who deals with persons with disability or so forth, parents especially, and having to deal with their individuals, because as Ms. Pacheco rightly said, it's not only children we have, we also have adults. We have adults dealing with as well. Yeah.
All right, we take on the floor.
Dub Dub.
Dub Dub. My lady, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This lady is a strong, strong lady.
Yes, she is.
Very, very strong. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
We can hear you.
You recognize the voice? Or?
Yes.
You
And
recognize the voice?
she looks, she's smiling. And let me tell all you this. I had a cousin, this would have been 1960,
right? But at that time, we didn't know. I now know that that child is what cerebral palsy that she
Cerebral
had.
palsy.
We thought that she was an invalid.
Yes, that
Right?
was the
So
term used.
now I am listening.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't know what became of that child. So she would have been 61 years this year. She must be dead by now.
Wow.
But I now know what was wrong with her. She was on a bed. And the grandmother used to take care of her. So my lady, your story is so, I don't know what to say. And you look so well. And you're smiling. God bless you.
Thank
you.
you very
That's
much.
3 minutes
It's only
left.
by the grace of God.
Thank you,
Quick
caller.
question. In your while taking care of your daughter and stuff, did you see, because it's 19 years,
Yes.
did you see any signs of improvement along the way in terms of when they finally got, and I think the second question as well is, when they finally gave you the grant, did they retroactive? Because I mean, it's 5 years. Why not? I mean, because if it took you 5 years for it to be proven that your child is,
No, but Alan,
No.
you know what's the, before you answer, you know what's the weird thing? The people that you go into, they don't have a clue
Yeah.
about what it actually is, you know. They just have this question,
Yeah.
and they're going to sit down with you, okay, all right, and they're taking, or they're writing yes, no, NA, not applicable. That's what they do. No, I know, I know the public service. That's our next story for our next time. But I know.
no, we can talk about that. We can actually talk about that the next time.
That's a whole show.
So, but in terms of your experience, what exactly did you what did you experience when it comes to your daughter as well in terms of her development?
improvement, right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at first, after therapy and so forth, she did improve to a great deal where she was on like walker, moving around. And then one of the problem is seizures. She suffered with these seizures, right? So she ended up with a massive seizure when she was 2.5 years. And that just set back everything. So what happens is anytime things like seizures or so take place, there's a setback, and doctors had really mentioned that. So let's say what she would have accomplished
Over the last 2 years.
yes, it will set. She will take like 5 years to get it back.
a reset.
And yes, so there are times that she improve, and any time like a seizure occurs, you know, more than let's say for a period of time, there will always be setbacks. So she had a lot of setbacks. She had a lot of improvement and yet setbacks. Yes. So so it's a
Drama.
it's a process, you know. And as the person rightly called there, the strength I got is because of knowing or having the Lord in my life. And I know if it wasn't for that strong faith in God, I probably would have crumbled by now. So it's my faith in God and His keeping that has me with the strength. So I don't want to take credit. I give God the credit for that.
So to the young lady next to you, and what's the name again?
Alicia.
Alicia. How, seeing what your friend has gone through, how has it impacted you? Are you doing anything different? Learning from her experience.
She's also a parent of
Yeah. So that's why
our stories will be
Similar.
slightly different. And I want us to understand persons, even in Trinidad and as well as worldwide, persons on the lower economic side of the spectrum, those children will be the children and those families will be the families most at risk. Because those will be the families who can't afford the therapy, especially if it's only private.
Yes.
So what we want is for therapy to be available in the public medical setting. So it levels the playing field for everybody. Because if I bring somebody whose child has cerebral palsy, despite severity, if I bring a person who has child has cerebral palsy, despite it being severe, moderate or severe, from a different economic spectrum, we would hear a different story. And that's why my story is slightly different. So even though I'm a single parent, I'm what you call middle class, considered middle class in terms of income. So I couldn't qualify for that grant anyway because they
Wow.
considered that my salary was high enough.
Yeah.
Even though it was only one income
Right.
in my home, and
Wow.
I was a single parent taking care of this child. My son is also considered mild to moderate, so he wasn't severe. And
So
I
this is how 2 children you're speaking about?
two different
2
children.
different children.
So, and
And you ain't qualified?
That's all. 2 different children with cerebral.
I have one son with cerebral palsy, but
Oh.
I'm a single
But
parent.
you have
but
another-
I'm a
oh.
working single parent. So my income bracket for that,
To
grant.
receive that
Yeah.
grant.
it was considered too high.
That's to show you how they don't understand what the grant
And this is, I'm
It
thinking
was-
that this, all right,
Yes.
so this is what
So
I'm gathering
that
so
was
far.
so that was one, but also that in terms of development and improvement, because that's what we're trying to speak about. I'm an educator by profession. So even in the hospital, as her experience was, even in the hospital when my son was born, and I saw he didn't have the reflexes. He didn't have his Biskini reflex. He didn't have his Moro reflex. He didn't have his sucking reflex. I'm a special educator by profession. So in my mind, the bell's already going off.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for cerebral palsy here.
Wow.
So, but I had the same experience. They give you your child in the hospital as if nothing is wrong with your child, and they send you home.
Really?
I didn't go home. My son spent
Wow.
2 weeks in the hospital after I was discharged because he had swallowed meconium and they needed to pump it out of his system. So of course that caused more nerve damage as well. But I didn't go home. I went straight to a private pediatrician because of my training, my background.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed different help. So I didn't, but remember, a lot of our parents and the majority of our clients, they rely on the public health system
Yeah.
because that they can't afford anything else. So my son benefited from therapy from birth. So he benefited from the occupational therapy mostly. So my son walked at 3 years. My son walks independently, doesn't use a walker or any sort of aid. Of course, he always needs to, he has balance issues, he always needs to, he will need to hold the railing when going upstairs and so forth. He had the feeding issues early, choking and so forth. He doesn't have those issues so much anymore. He still needs help with the bathroom and dressing and some of those needs. And my son benefited from attending preschool early because he didn't have mobility issues. And because I'm a teacher too, I know which schools to go and ask to get him in. He also benefited from me. Even though he was in a private school, I also paid for him to have an aid in school. Because many of our students to be able to access school, they need aid.
Still without a grant.
The aids
Still without a grant.
we do have.
Still without a grant.
Still without a grant.
So what the grant is
so
for?
it was a struggle financially. It was a struggle financially.
It would be.
But because I knew where to get the services, my journey was a little different. My journey was a little different, and I think it's 2 different stories. But I think in our organization, what we try to do is because we have had the journey, because Michelle has had the journey, because I've had the journey, and we have another executive member here who's also a parent. We've had the journey. We try to advise parents to now to help them how to jump over some of those hoops, because we know
Because the impact
when you
is
go,
important,
the welfare
different
officer might tell you
impacts.
this, they might tell you that. Even for things like going to the hospitals, there are clinics available that offer services. But if you don't know that the clinic is available, nobody's going to tell you that the clinic is available or refer you to the clinic. So sometimes you have to tell our parents, when you go, tell them you want a referral for this clinic and tell them you want a referral for this. So just so that you get it. So now we're able to help because we have walked the journey. We're able to help and guide. And or for helping our students get into public school because some of them can't access public school. Some of them can't access private schools. In the education realm, there is a grant for students who go to certain private schools, so I must say that. And in education, they also provide aids for students who are able to go and get aids. But of course, parents have to wait on the hiring practices of the ministry to be able to get the aids. So the thing is, we have a lot of stuff. We do have some stuff in Trinidad. We need to get better. But the ones that we do have, we need to make it easier for people to access it. Because I wouldn't go and line up in social welfare and go over and over like how Michelle went over and over if she didn't need the service.
This is the
If she didn't need, if they did, people who don't need it,
I would go through all that just for a grant.
So
Really?
for the grant, let me tell you something. One of the grants, if you are accessing therapy, it will afford you about 4 sessions of therapy per month for one therapy. Only for one. Wouldn't afford you. So it's not that the grant is a large amount. So if to help our persons, I'm going to say it over and over until you take me off air, to help our persons, they need the service in the public system. Yeah. They do need it. And the government needs to procure persons to be able to give that service in the public system. We do have physiotherapy, but the physiotherapy clinic is one clinic for adults who would have suffered stroke and some of those other things as well. So we don't have a designated clinic for children or persons with disabilities or who were born with disabilities. Yeah. So we need to have either a designated clinic, because if I get an appointment this month and you don't give me another appointment until next 2 months, how is that going to help my quality or how I am going to improve? Or because the clinician has to service so many persons in one day, because it's a range of persons, the quality of the service is also diminished.
Yes. All right, guys, you need to take a short break because we have a couple more folks. I want to get them in the talk.
And I will ask them the hard question I didn't get to ask you.
But I want to say some other grant issue when we come back from
That's what I want to tackle, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about it. So let me take a break. And we're coming back.
We're coming back dressed.
Yeah, keep the belly out of the shot. And we're back inside, and I want to say hello to some people who joined in, who locked on, looking at us. Nicole, Mary Jane. I've seen some other names here. Shoba.
Sheldon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I saw some other names here. Some other people. Joanne, or Joan. Is that Joan?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. You know?
Yeah, Adi, Trini Adi. What's up then, girl? And we have some other people that I don't even recognize, but you always have a set of people logging on. And that's just Facebook. We can talk with YouTube yet and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Gael family, all of the islands, and so on. Yeah. And we have some people looking on the studios. You want to say hello to them and all. Just hello. But seriously, coming back to the talk. You know what my issue with this granting is? Okay, you have grants available to members of the public, but why would it be so difficult to access? So sometimes I wonder if you're really serious about wanting to help people or if that's just a face. So that if somebody happened to access it, you could always, hey, but people getting grants. Look, this one got a grant for that. That one got a grant. But the kind of stress I just hear people having to go through to get those grants. I wonder if the government really serious about helping.
It would actually seem as if, and this is a question I want to throw there, it would seem as if the mission first is to discriminate. And I'm saying discriminate, not probably a loose term, I'm not saying it in a derogatory sense. I'm talking about in terms of the screening is supposed to avoid you or try to debar you from actually getting the grant or to make sure you're in dire straits or you're in dire need. Because the question is, who's supposed to qualify? From a first glance, you could see somebody is easily, from the time, like for instance, my dear, leaving the hospital. From the time the person is leaving the hospital with this child, with this scenario, shouldn't there be some link instantly from the hospital?
Yeah, just sign here and you'll come and collect your grant. Send your husband to collect. You understand?
Immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? So the question is, why is there a huge disconnect where this is concerned, understanding the scenarios as it relates to cerebral palsy?
So let's find out who we have on this set and
Yes,
and they will answer.
yeah,
So we have
should I have the question on your...
But it's a ladies first. So we have Mrs.
Michelle,
what's your first name, full name, Michelle?
Michelle Howard.
Michelle Howard. And we have Mr.
Edward Janke.
Edward Janke in the house. Well, I'm going to say who all you are and whatever. But based on what we're talking here, we want to hear all the responses to that.
So Michelle, what's your role? I don't know what's Michelle's role.
Okay, what's your role
Michelle,
in the organization? But I want to hear the comment on this grant thing. I want to hear what they are saying.
Well, we have something.
Hey, we have thing for the top. Let's not make sure.
Yeah, well, then don't we spread out. What don't make joke? Hey, only watching right. I hope all seen. This how the top business. You see when they come as guests, the top thing.
Thank you so very much.
Well, we have something in the top too. So if
I want to look at
right,
it,
so feel free to partake and
don't be afraid.
Yes, Michelle.
Yes. Well, my name is Michelle Howard, and I'm one of the parent executives on the team at Care Helpers Organization of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. Just for clarity, you say one of the parent executives. So is it that the executives only parents, or there are people who are not parents but still form part of the executive?
Yeah.
Right, well, let me clarify for you, right? So for instance, I'm on the executive, corporate secretary, but I don't have any children with CP.
Okay.
Right, so I'm probably the only person here in studio, right, on the executive who doesn't have a child with CP, right? But we have 2 other directors and about 3 trustees.
Okay.
Who are also people who they don't personally have children.
Okay.
Right? But we see the cause, right? So I mean, as you would have heard before, for instance, Michelle and Alicia, what they would have spoken to, there is a cause, there's a need, for us to advocate, right, and lobby on behalf of people in Trinidad and Tobago with CP who otherwise wouldn't have a voice, and not every parent or caregiver, is, vocal enough, right, and as you see, it's a uphill battle. And we really have to, you have to have a lot of courage and fortitude to, go and make your case.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a sad thing that in this day and age, that people with disabilities, are suffering, but yet it seems as though you have to go to the public and beg, right, for things that ought to be, your entitlement, your rights, basic fundamental human rights,
And that is basic fundamental right in terms of someone with special needs.
Yeah.
Because when I remember just recently, I'm supposed to get a brace for my daughter. She has school uses because of the whole muscle tone and the difficulty with regards to probably even sitting up on her own. So over a period of time, she would develop school uses. So there's a brace that you have to replace every 2 years. So I say, well, I will try the system. And ongoing, the first thing they will do is to do an evaluation. I say, was any consideration made in this evaluation with regards to the fact that someone is applying for it who has special needs? And there was no answer for that.
Because they
So,
don't know.
so the basis is the
They
same.
don't know.
The basis
not the
is
same.
the same.
They don't
Yeah.
know.
And so long as your salary is a certain amount, there's no assistance.
Yeah.
So you can handle your own stories.
And mind you, like Ms. Pacheco, right? She is a single parent, right? Fine, she has a job and is working and all that, but still, you're talking about a single parent.
Yeah.
And, well, our organization, our network, we have roughly about 100 members currently. But the vast majority of them are single mothers. You find typically that, you know, the fathers in those relationships, you know, from the time they find out that something is wrong with the child, they don't stay. They don't stick around, you know, and that is a very sad and hard
Reality.
you know, reality that, you know, any parent, right, will see somebody who has to take care of a child with special needs, you know, has to deal with. And then you have a government that wants to come and say, because you're earning above a certain amount, you're not entitled to.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Is this
that is
a
travesty.
governmental position, or is this, no, I'm saying governmental position because, I mean, we could quite easily lay blame on the government, most times. But we have to remember too, we are dealing with people, because sometimes I go in a specific office, and I know I'm not dealing with the government. I deal with a public servant.
Yeah.
That, again, feel as though they actually handle the purse of the government. So if I'm coming to you because of that, and because there's this human disconnect, because it's black and white, as Alistair said earlier on, you deal with somebody who just asking questions, take the box off, and say, all right, we'll send somebody by you, and then they push the paper in an Excel file, and then you have to wait the next 2 months. So is it that the government's position is that you must be of an income bracket only, and could that ever change if that's the case? Has it been adjusted? Have we seen a relaxation of that because of the nature of what cerebral palsy does to an entire family? I don't really business how much money you make. Your income was not, you didn't go for a job with an income that is designed to face the circumstance. You understand? So it doesn't matter how much money you make. Your circumstances will affect, your income will affect this circumstance on a natural basis. Now we have a new problem that changes the lives of everyone in the family. Why is that? And is there anybody lobbying now to have that adjusted or amended?
So that's where, for instance, our group comes into play. You know, so one of our chief roles is as an advocate, right, to be that voice, right, for people with CP, for their parents, for their caregivers, right? To kind of answer your question, what comes to mind, I think one of the challenges the government has in general when it comes to giving grants, right? And not only for these special needs grants, you know, but grants in general. I think it's challenge in terms of the administration, right? I mean, if just to run a parallel, right? Look at licensing office, how many years? Everybody knows by automating the thing, you know, the processes and stuff would improve, you know, but we took so many years in this country before it was done. Right, and now we are seeing so many benefits, right? But so it's something similar in terms of, I think they are challenged in terms of their existing infrastructure and administration. So both the human, right, element of it in terms of being able to properly manage and oversee that system in terms of remember, these grants and stuff, you ideally would not want people who are not really deserving of it.
Right.
So,
Of course,
for instance, people claiming grants and yet they have no special needs child, right? And I know we talk about Trinidad and Tobago, so anything is
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
Right, so that is one very real challenge that they have, right? Part of the response then of the government would have been to introduce something called means testing, right? Meaning then now, so there's a whole set of rules that anybody applying for a grant has to meet before they can qualify, right, for this grant. And sadly, one of the criterion is that salary, right? But again, the salary does not consider the single parent. It doesn't consider the cost, right? And not only the financial cost, right, of care.
Then therefore, sorry to interrupt. Then therefore, what you're actually trying to say in the means test that something should override the other. I mean, in terms of there's a consideration should be made that this is a single mother,
Right.
a single parent with cerebral palsy issue. So even though she's making this income, this can actually, you understand? So we override the income scenario for the sake of that single parent instant. And so again, make it a lot more flexible for whoever is the person doing the means test.
Exactly.
And now I have a next.
The name of the thing speaks for itself.
So
Special
Needs.
right.
grant. So when I am making $1 million to someone, I need that for this specific person.
Well, let's look at it.
I'm not saying if I'm making $1 million, I'll come to get grant. But what I'm saying is, if I'm considered middle class as Alicia would have pointed out, but I'm not just middle class, I am single.
Yeah, the income shouldn't be the main thing.
The income can't.
Right there, you see that whole disqualification of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because single, middle class, special needs grant, it have nothing to do with my income.
Right.
I need this for this purpose, what you all giving me it for.
You see, again, again, I'm very particular about how we argue this thing, how we put that argument out there. Now, all right.
Yeah.
Now, look at this scenario, and I want you all to explain this to me now. If it is that this, because primarily what I'm hearing so far is that cerebral palsy could be caused due to negligence at the same public health facility. No. Is it that you're giving this child, the doctors would have recognized instantly and early o'clock that you have a child with a special need immediately. And what they do now is that they hide the fact that they are at fault for it. Is that what happens are we saying is that what happens in these spaces? If so, how do we now get that? How do caregivers,
Parents, caregivers.
right? How do caregivers now intercede on behalf of a parent immediately with a scenario like that, where the hospital or the administrative arm of the hospital needs to be responsible or held responsible for what transpired with this child's scenario? Because that to me again is another disconnect. Because for in time somebody has you come there, you had a full term. There was no instant with anything that was seen in any of your trimesters. You did your ultrasound, it was perfect. The doctors say it looked like a healthy child. So you come to the hospital expecting to give birth to a healthy child. And then somewhere along the line, a nurse didn't do what they were supposed to do, a doctor take too long to respond, something created the problem. How can the medical, is there any instance where they were held responsible and it paid off, or they did what they needful? Was there any instance where that happened at all?
Well, to my knowledge, there were some cases, but in some cases, no. Because what happens is many persons find it's a long, drawn-out process, and it could become frustrating and belittling. Because what happens is we would say the medical fraternity do not take the responsibility. So here you are going down the road with lawyers, and they're putting you through this over and over. So some people choose not to go through that, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's this thing. But what we as an organization choose to do, seeing that I've been through the experience, I choose to help families in that area where we could offer counseling, right? We have like brochures in which we take to the hospitals to inform, you know, new parents on what cerebral palsy is, and build that support system where we could help them to get through with this, even introduce where therapy is concerned and other forms of assistance. So there's where we come in. And concerning whether it's for lawyers or so forth, there's where we have all those things in place. All the yes. Yes. So in many ways we could try to assist, because we partner with different organizations that could assist in these areas.
Yeah. I think, go ahead.
Yeah, as you talk about brochures and stuff, the question I want to ask is what are you all doing to bring awareness?
Before childbirth? Before childbirth?
No, awareness to the public about this organization and what you all kind of, the kind of assistance you can give and that kind of
public, including the doctors and nurses.
Yeah, right, true.
You really want to give the doctors?
That next story.
I was going to tell you.
Next story.
Double up on how much she working with.
You see, I'll come back to not only the granting in ourselves, but generally. It might be my problem. I was a government employee at one point. So that way he said we could talk at a certain level because we understand how they operate. The issue I'm having is this situation exists. It has been existing in the country for decades.
Yes.
How much of the public knows about this? How much of the public knows that, hey, if your child happen to be in this condition, this is something you could reach out to get help? How much is the government, and when we say government, of course we're talking state agencies, interchangeably.
Yeah.
How much are they doing to educate the public? Apart from saying we have a grant, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But do the public even know what you can offer to them, what you're offering them to help in the scenario? I have a real problem with the state for that.
Eric, you hitting some nails because, all right, I have 3 children, right? Listen to this.
Yeah.
I have 3 children. So we have been to the same hospital 3 times, right? Seen different doctors 3 times.
Yeah.
And in those 3 times, we have never been told anything about cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
So you talking about it? Who telling the public?
Do you understand what I mean?
Who telling them?
No, I believe, and I know Eric asked a question, so you want to give them a chance to answer.
Yeah.
I personally believe that when it comes to these matters, based on what the experience of the parents, there's a huge cover-up.
Well, it has to be.
But I mean, there must be some. I mean, how do we get a doctor or 2 involved in unearthing these cover-ups, or getting the fraternity or the hospitals as them a little bit more careful, and if in cases of some issue coming up. No, we need somebody that understand the fight, somebody that stand in the gap, because these are lives. This is it's not just lives they're talking about here. I'm talking about the lives of how many members of family? How many? Yes, your husband, yourself, and another.
Another daughter.
Right. So that's 3 members of the family that are affected by one person scenario.
Yes.
You understand? You have larger families who, everybody will jump in and take care of this child and be monitoring this child day in, day out for seizures. Come on. Some doctor has to 2, 3, 4 doctors. Some people have to get more involved in the fight of this cover-up, because to me now that is where the problem starts. Yeah? Not even with just the grant, the problem starts right there in the hospital. So when the hospital makes a mistake, hey, oops, sorry, let's make life now easier.
Trust me.
Why? Why?
Because it's 1 3
I ready to let you stop.
We can get to the why just now, but Michelle wanted to talk.
Go ahead,
Little
Michelle.
why now, me.
Sorry.
With regards to,
Just bring the mic a
like,
little
as you
closer.
said
Yeah.
about, you know, the experience. I mean, as I said, each parent would have a different experience. And as you were seeing, I mean, how much people will have to come in to the help of this child. And it's 24/0. I am a working parent. So even though I go to work, I have to ensure that I have somebody caring.
Yes.
My mom said, I have 10 children.
Wow.
I've never had one with CP.
Wow.
So I don't even know what to do.
Where to begin?
And I was like, well, this is my child. Only one child. First child. Only child. I can't even begin to say that.
Yeah.
I have to learn.
Yeah.
I have to do it. And the care now I have to have for my daughter at home, I have to pay myself. I say, well, it's like I'm paying a mortgage, but I'm not under my own house.
Wow.
You understand? But it's my child.
Yeah.
You understand? So I have to do what you have to
Necessary.
do.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but with my case at the hospital, it was a planned, it was supposed to be a planned C-section because I had difficulties before with something they called fibroids.
Okay.
But they said that, okay then, they know what they have to do. They would normally cut on the same cut because that is how they normally do.
Yeah.
But I was seeing somebody private, and when she realized that there might be difficulty, she said, I think you better go to the hospital. I said, I don't really want to go. She said, I think you should go. So, okay then, I say I agreed to go. And when she said, you will have to have another ultrasound at this point in time, I said, okay. So when I was referred, and when that time came up, they said, well, no, you don't need another. I said, the doctor said, I would need one. I said, well, okay then, go ahead and do it. That ultrasound showed that there were fibroids growing on the cut. So they will have to cut different.
Different, yeah.
At this point in time, I don't know if any doctor ever read that.
Wow. Wow.
It's really a wow.
Because there was the whole process and system is that, okay then, there would be somebody else interviewing you before that time comes. There was another file inside of my file for somebody else who did ultrasound. I remember the person's name because it was saying Michelle. And and when they realized that, the doctor took it to the nurses, and I don't know what happened with that interview after that.
Wow.
So I don't think the doctor, and that is something I've always been seeing. I think when you start clinic, the head doctor would see you.
Right.
I think that same doctor should see you before that operation you go into.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
To clarify anything or
Yeah.
any difficulty that you have.
Listen, a friend of mine went in the hospital. His mom had to be rushed to the hospital. Something, heart ain't feeling thing and whatever. They prescribe certain medication. The medication damaged her kidney. And you know what it was? Acid reflux.
Wow.
Acid reflux. You feel anybody telling she's sorry? Nah. It's a sad state. But that is the reality of it. They know they're doing the wrong thing. They may come and, sorry.
Because I only saw my daughter is like 2 days after, because there was massive bleeding, because they cut on the cut, and there was massive bleeding. I always had to ask, I mean, this is supposed to be a planned C-section. Was anything put in place in case difficulty to have that oxygen for that child? Up to now, I don't know if she ever cried.
Wow.
And that is something
Yeah, boy.
I didn't even want to repeat.
My God.
You know? I don't even know if she ever cried. You know? So I saw her 2 days after. When the first time I held her, I said, why I have to support her head like that? You see? It's a baby, so you have to support her.
I want to say this, just for clarity, because the way we talking, people might get the impression that we trying to lick up the medical fraternity. Not so.
We doing it.
No.
But we doing it.
Wait, no.
They have to get a make out of it.
No, I know. Before I was saying, and at this point I want to bring clear. Despite the negatives, I am sure that a lot of people could also talk positively. I can.
We all can.
Right, but I just want to make it clear. Let's see people feel that we just have this hatred for the medical fraternity. Nah, it's not that.
But when
we have to be real. Exactly.
Who is coming to the
Because the thing is,
coming to the rescue? Who coming?
They are what I will call a necessary evil. There are things that we rely on them for that we can't do for ourselves.
No.
You can have a C-section for yourself.
No.
But you have to put yourself at the mercy of them and hope that they do the correct thing. The unfortunate reality is sometimes you mess up.
That's one of the reasons why some people is late. When it comes to
bad.
For anytime they have C-section, they're going to the States.
Yeah.
Some people just don't trust what's going on here, and they go direct across to the States to do C-sections. Anything to do with surgery to get checked. I know a lot of women have done that. You understand? So again, who comes to the aid of Michelle when something goes wrong? You understand? Who's there to supervise these other individuals that is not necessarily in the room, but I want to make sure that we've done right by each expecting mother in the hospital? Who's there to sign off on this document? What went wrong here? And ask the question, is there a particular office for these things? And if not, why not? And right now, we go by Uncle Terry and tell him, put it in place. That's just me.
But he living somewhere here?
Yeah, we go, Uncle, I don't know, we go and pelt mud. When we go and pelt mud, we go
So
ask
for me,
the
it was a mix of good and bad, because when they finished the delivery, a nurse was the one who saw that I was bleeding internally, and said I had to return. And there were doctors there on emergency call that was able to assist. So I was happy, you know.
Somebody's alert.
You know, somebody, was alert. Somebody was there to help, because at that time there were different things going on, and persons on the way to Mounto or on the way to the health facility, they passed away. Because they did different things, you know, privately, went into difficulty. So, I mean, it was a mixture for me of being happy, appreciative of somebody being there, but being confused and, you know, not certain about what it is happening. You understand? And what are the challenges that you have to face.
I don't want to say something.
So, I mean, if we could put it in context. So, I mean, I know we're speaking about, in these instances, unfortunately, instances where clearly it would have been a result of some kind of medical malpractice.
Human
right? Right?
Yeah, it's a human error.
But in terms of context, though, right? In terms of total causes of CP, that's a fraction, right? There are other things. right? What I think compounds the situation again is a lack of knowledge. So which is where we as the advocacy group comes in terms of trying to enhance, the level of public awareness out there, right? In general, it would be nice, and I think it was at least between 2.5 years ago, as a group we would have approached the Ministry of Health, to go to, try to lobby for some changes there. So one of the things then would be to ensure then at the public healthcare institutions, that information is provided, right, on cerebral palsy. That's number one. And next major problem that we have right now is in terms of statistics, right? When last have we had a census where we are able to see, right, persons with disabilities broken down by the different type of disabilities, right? So right now we have no idea, right? 2021.
No science.
Can't remember when the last census was, right? But what is a decade ago, whatever. But you're not going to see anywhere in that census, I'm sure, where it says so many persons with CP, so many persons with autism, Down syndrome, etc., etc., etc. And to me, in the 21st century, that is not acceptable, right? So one of the cries and the pleas that we want to make, to the government and the powers that be, is that we need proper census data and more detail in terms of these things. Only then would we then be able to be more effective in closing the gap in terms of the current level of service delivery, where it is at and where it needs to be, right? In order, again, to make the quality of life, for people with CP and other disabilities better, right?
So
yes.
So we have, well, I know you're not just here just to talk about cerebral palsy, just like that.
Right.
There's a function coming up sometime soon. You want to give us a little bit, some information where that is concerned?
Right, very nice. So it'd be good if you all put up the ad and sent you all an ad earlier, right? But on Sunday coming, right? So that's March.
I think you put it up already a couple of times, but let's, the flyer, there's a flyer.
Yes.
Yes, there's a flyer. We're going to put it up on the screen. But go ahead and share.
Right, so this Sunday coming, that's March the 28th, 2021, right, at 5 p.m., we are having our first ever gala virtual banquet fundraiser event. It's intended to be an annual event, right? This year, we're going virtual, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So we are going to be, that is the directors and so on, we are going to be live streaming from Queen's Hall in St. Anne's, Port of Spain. And we are hoping to reach, some new sponsors. We're looking for sponsors in corporate TNT, other high net worth individuals, philanthropists, and the general public. We would like you all to come and tune in, right, on Sunday evening to hear all about CP. So, we would have spoken in a great deal of depth, more, I think, about each individual person's here, their experiences, with their own children and all of that. But at that event, we're going to have a mix of some speeches. So, detailing about the organization, detailing, yes, about what cerebral palsy is. We're going to have some entertainment in between pieces. I'm not going to give away too much, right? But this is an event really. We want to invite Trinidad and Tobago, come tune in and see what cerebral palsy is all about, see what the Care Helpers organization of Trinidad and Tobago is all about. We need your support in order to make a difference. You would have heard tonight on the program all of the challenges, right? But there is a silver lining, right, around those clouds in terms of what you, right, you at home, you in that business place, you can help in terms of turning the tables around, by making a financial contribution, So we want to invite you guys to sponsor, come and be a partner with us, so that we can together work together to improve, the quality of life, and it will help the organization as well, to reach further and be able to do more. Right, so we have a growing network, and we also want to be able to improve the quality of service that we're able to provide that network, So sadly, everything, we need finances.
What time is it? What date and time one more time?
Right, so that's Sunday coming, March the 28th, right, at 5 p.m., right?
If someone wants to make a contribution financially,
Sure.
Of someone, what number do they call or numbers?
So that's not a problem. So we bank with First Citizens Bank in Arima, right? And let me give you the account number. All right, so that's First Citizens Bank Limited in Arima. Account number 2482681. Let me repeat. So First Citizens Bank Limited in Arima. Account number 2482681. Right, and if you would like to get any more information on our organization and our upcoming event, we want to invite you all to visit our webpage. We are at carehelpers.
orgtt.com.
Let me make sure I get it correctly. Right, I don't want to give you the wrong thing. So carehelpersorgtt.com. Right, CAREHELPERS orgtt.com. Right, or you can also visit us on our Facebook page. Right.
I stepped away a little bit, so I don't know what I may have missed. But is the event going to be held? Of course, I'm asking. Okay, I've had to ask.
Sure.
Is the event one where people can attend in person, or is it virtual?
All right. No. So this year, because we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, as I said, it's going to be a pure virtual event. So when you visit our website, we have our events page. Okay. And you could go and click on the Gala fundraiser.
Nice.
And you will be able to actually see a registration link. You could just click on that, fill out some simple information. And when we get that now, we will give you the Zoom meeting information, right? Okay. For you to log in.
So it's going to be free to get in. It's going to be free.
Oh, yes. Yes, totally free. Totally free.
And we'll be on YouTube as well, and Facebook.
So streaming,
yes, it will be streaming on YouTube and Facebook as well.
All right, good.
Yes.
Good.
So Sunday, this Sunday the 28th. What time? 9 p.m.
5
p.m.
5 p.m.
Yes.
You can tune in 9, but they might not.
I just
you would have
say,
probably missed it.
I see.
All right, good. Nice.
Register to get your link.
Nice one.
Yes.
Well, also, I'm not sure if anybody had mentioned before, right? In terms of timing, in case anybody was wondering, right? TNT, the month of March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, right, in Trinidad and Tobago, and March the 25th is actually CP Awareness Day. Trinidad and Tobago, right? So you'll see, for instance, that we try to be branded, right?
Yes.
Right, so this is how you know the CP, right?
Thursday we wear green ribbon.
Yes.
Today we wear green.
So you're wearing green on Thursday. Must see what this jersey look like.
Well, not only that, it's the whole month. So,
well, yeah.
Right? So next week Tuesday, you come back to the green jersey. Right? Next week
Tuesday.
You coming back to the green jersey.
When the month finishing Monday?
It finishes Monday. That's okay.
It finishes. But next week Tuesday holiday, no?
Next week Tuesday holiday.
So next Tuesday.
No show. That way, see.
I just remind you, let's see.
What holiday is that?
Because we could come dress up for the holiday. We could come and shout a Baptist.
Also, that is actually 31st.
Come here.
We have a chance to wear it till.
Oh, you want to show that it's important. Well, probably your side. That's what the people, let's see what we get out here now.
This guy, you understand? This rubber dub. Yeah, this rubber dub.
Is that a size jersey?
I feel like
it's one size, man. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, one size.
This rubber dub.
So yes, Trinidad and Tobago on March 25th.
What are we talking about?
Support. Come out in the green.
I look like
Our next
Yeah,
line
it's
is
good to-
green.
yeah. This is excellent.
What's that?
Okay, hold this. Hold this.
This one is medium.
Smith.
It's medium.
Yeah, take that.
What size is it? Me
I like-
checking. I just pull it.
No, I like my little sexy. I know I like my little sexy look.
Of course. What size is this? What size is this? What size is
We
this?
wearing green. You getting it there? Green.
You know what? I want Peyton just a spice.
This is XL.
I don't know.
No, just checking.
But I don't
You
want that medium too?
Yeah, this is good.
So we wearing green. We wearing green this
Like
month.
bold day boy, yes, sir. I feel like bold day boy and green.
We wearing green.
So gonna what me already? Yeah.
I tell you it's medium.
Okay.
You feel I was telling you?
I know I'm gonna do it. That's it's medium you get it? Yeah?
I look at them.
Again. Why does this happen to me?
Yeah, that's what's going on. You're fine.
Because you're working out.
Yeah.
But this not working out for me, friends. This is a little too. I don't mind the sexy, but you know.
Yes, and this fit good.
Why are the guy I'll get my jersey is the same thing I don't go through.
Why not? You grow up with that jersey or you know get that tonight? Like you grow up with that
All right,
jersey.
tell you what, I want to give you guys a challenge. And let me ask Alicia. Alicia. Okay, we want to do this a little weird. Come in.
So we can ask persons on Thursday
come
to get a green ribbon.
Very quick.
Let me give the lady.
We'll stay long.
Don't worry, sir.
All right, Alan will stand behind you. Give you.
Yeah,
you know,
sure, yeah.
you
I'll
understand?
stay right here.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask.
Stand up that strong, man.
Get it strong.
Yeah.
Close him because we have a few minutes. So I wanted to ask you guys, quick. For people who not aware of the organization, of how to deal with it, because of course, I know you say about 100 persons, but obviously we know a lot more out there, and they're trying to cope. What are some basic things that they need to understand to start putting in place to deal with their child, as the case may be, who they may discover or say this is what they have, cerebral palsy. What can they now start to do to treat with that scenario?
And to follow up one time, we could answer one time because time. How do they get in touch with you all?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so for any parent, mothers, we want them to understand it's okay to feel hurt, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to feel sad. Initially deal with your emotions and then move forward. Seek the support of an organization. Do get counseling because it is tough emotionally, it's tough physically as well. So seek the help of an organization, join a support group.
Yeah.
So Care Helpers is
Well,
one
I'm not
support
gonna say
group.
that.
Of course,
Is
join
it?
a support,
Yes.
join a
Yes.
support group. Get the services that you need to get for yourself as a carer of the person, because you have to take care of yourself first.
Yes.
So get your counseling, get your support, and so forth. For Michelle and other Michelles and some of us, our spiritual side was also very important. Those of us who have good families, involve your family. You cannot do it on your own. So some persons have good help from their extended families, some people don't, but get a network around yourself to help with your child, because you're going to need transport help, you're going to need help for someone to take care of your child. So get a good network, whether it be family members, friends, neighbors, get a good network around yourself. And start getting the information, what is available publicly that is yours to get as a citizen. And speak up and get it.
Nice.
And find out what is available privately that you need to, and what you have to do for most times, because finances is a problem. At any point in your child's development, you may have to prioritize which therapy you can do, which one is more important at this point in time. So you may have to prioritize based on what you can afford, but most important for all of us, celebrate the little milestones. Every day they do something to amaze you. Every day they do better, and every day they improve. Don't compare them with anybody else. You have to celebrate them. Celebrate them and celebrate all the little joys and all the little milestones. Don't hide them away, and involve them. Involve them in all the activities in your family, all the activities. Take them to church if you're a church-going person. Take them to birthday parties. Take them to the beach. Because one of our problems is that we hide our disabled.
Yeah.
So that's one of our problems as a country, why people are not familiar with persons with disabilities, because we hide them. Don't hide them. take them out. It is their right to enjoy life. It's their right to enjoy everything that your family is involved in. And I always say for persons, so I take my son everywhere with me, he has a disability. He cannot help that. The world has to adjust for him. He cannot adjust for the world. And they will have to adjust the more they see him. And the more we have them out there. So try to involve your child in everything that you do and celebrate the life that they are and the person that they are, and celebrate all their strengths, and don't focus on the things that they can't do. Because there is ability in disability.
Well said.
Yes.
Nice one. I like that one, boy. Ability.
In the disability. Yes.
So tell Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, because we helping everybody.
Yeah.
We can help who we can help. We can help people virtually now. That's where the world going, right? So tell them how we get in touch with you all, and if we have a registration, something.
Sure. So that's no problem. All right, in terms of phone number, so you could contact our president, Michelle Ashley Bisram, at 709-9033. That number again, 709-9033. You can also send us an email to carehelpersorganizationtt@gmail.com. Right? carehelpersorganizationtt@gmail.com. Right? And that organization is with an S, not a Z. Right? And of course, again, you could always visit our website, right? Which is carehelpersorgtt.com. Right? carehelpersorgtt.com. Right? And we also have a Facebook page.
Care Helpers Organization, TT.
Yes. Right? So, I mean, you search it and you will see the logo come up, right? The heart with the wreath around that.
Nice.
Yes.
And of course, you could always reach out to Gael
Yes.
to get the contact, your faithful Gael people, right? And we'll find the number right here.
And don't forget to go green on the 25th, which is Thursday.
Well, I study why I have to do Thursday. I could just go and walk.
Go green. To support cerebral palsy awareness.
I never go wear this one.
We don't want to.
What to do? We don't want to. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna wear this one, but if I do, I'll put on a jacket. Just so you know, again, I still let's call them thing.
Well, the world changing, and you can pull it in
a cardigan.
Anyhow, so Michelle, Edward, Alicia, on behalf of the Tubbers.
Thank you for coming through, man.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Anytime.
I'm looking forward to that event. That would be a nice event on Sunday. The public, hey guys, get in touch with them. Support. You know somebody, you now understand a little more. You know, seeing the signs. You're probably seeing somebody moving a kind of way, and you're not sure. You have a better understanding why, and the how.
But
you're demonstrating. What's the two terms? One is spastic. That's when the limb firm and the muscle tense. And the other one is ataxia, and the limbs kind of loose and right. So you see that, and you're not sure what it was. Now you understand.
There are people
quite possibly could be cerebral palsy.
There are people who are who like to do caregiving. There's some people who
interesting.
Love to take care.
I wanted to mention that we had St. James Police Youth Club last week, and there was a young guy, and he said he loves geriatric care.
Yeah.
That was amazing. A young man. Yeah, he's certified in, I think he's 25, I think, or 22, somewhere there. And he's certified geriatric as a man. That was amazing. One of the things I just want to say this to close. One of the things that touched me, because as I said, I saw some of your stuff. When I looked at some of the photos, one of the things that touched me was to see the amount of men. Although you said about how men run away and stuff, but it was still encouraging to see that volume of men active and involved in what you guys were doing. It says a lot. And you see that they're enjoying what they're doing. They're smiling, and you could see that they're involved. And that was nice.
So I just want to, before you see what you're going to see there, I just want to tell you, I'm going to play a little advocate here. I know you said 2 years ago you would have reached out to the Ministry of Health and that kind of thing, right? I'm not sure if they would have reached out to you since that time, right? Maybe not, maybe yes, I don't know. They call and they didn't get through, but knock on the door and keep knocking and keep knocking and keep knocking. Just keep knocking and keep knocking. They go get fed up and they go.
Yeah, and if you didn't, they kick in the door and tell them Guy will send you.
Yeah, that's all. So you
tell them Guy night send man.
So you're here. Because they need to get involved. They need to understand what they're dealing with. And they need to train the healthcare professionals to understand the same.
And that is the only way we ensure that no one is left behind.
Thank you very much.
That is most important, that no one is left behind.
Because I see the underlying issue. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but there is an underlying issue, and until we deal with that, we will not have.
These people have to get too many. I don't want to keep these people back here.
We give everybody last word. We give everybody last word.
Nah, I just.
Errol, as soon as Edward finished, you could run the billboard one time, so nobody get a chance to say anything else.
No, I just wanted to say, these persons that we represent, right, with cerebral palsy. And as a matter of fact, people with any kind of disabilities, at the end of the day, these are people too, right?
Yes.
These are human beings, and can't be just because they have a disability, or as I would prefer to say, they are differently abled, it doesn't make them any less of a person. So to you out there, Trinidad and Tobago, I want to encourage you, love these brothers and sisters, Right, and that's the way.
I get your message. I say right. Oh yeah! When you try to talk about whole wheat bread, don't let nobody fool you. They target these things.
Hey, man, clean boss.
He wrong to understand each other.
You want to see if I'm happy or
No, that's right. Do I say so? When
That's an effort. Who tell you that? Oh, you go sit down there and think about nothing.
We give you your glory. Come on, give him his glory. Don't touch it. We do not touch your glory. We do not interfere with what is yours. We give you your glory. We give you your glory. Glory.